What's up, y'all? Anderson here to talk about the NCAAs, and we have a lot of athletes who are leading the nation right now from various schools across the country who are making some serious strides when talking about performances this year relative to what we saw last year entering the NCAA championships going into March. Now, we're only at the end of January. We still have a full month and a half before we get to NCAAs on March 13th and 14th in Virginia Beach, but both the men and the women, they have been throwing down some amazing marks. So today, I just want to talk about some of the NCAA leaders, talk about how they kind of compare to the marks that we saw from athletes last year entering NCAA championships. And I don't know, will we be seeing some athletes really pushing the boundaries of what might be possible when talking about the NCAA this year? So let's start off with the women's 60-meter dash. Diving into T-first here, we have India Mayberry, competing for TCU, freshman at TCU, has a time of 7.11 seconds in the 60-meter dash. This is a very strong performance, not only because it's 7.1, also because she's a freshman, but also if you compare that to what we saw last year entering the NCAA championships, that would have had her equal number 3 in terms of the descending order list. So we're talking about quality at this point right now. India Mayberry, she's going to be a very, very strong threat. Now, she's only a freshman, so definitely going to be interesting to see how she actually progresses through the year. Compared last year, we did see Brianna Liston. She was a sophomore going into NCAA. She eventually won the 60 meters, but it'll be interesting to see how India Mayberry really kind of contends things when we get to NCAAs. You also have Samira Moody, you have Dejas DeFrand, apologies for the pronunciation, both of them from USC, kind of holding things down in the 2-3 spot, and Victoria Cameroon as well. So she's a freshman hitting that 7.19. So 60 meter for the women, very, very competitive already. But let's move over to the 200, where also very competitive event. We're not seeing anything, super eye-popping at the moment yet. We have 4 women who have broken the 22-second, we have 3 women who've broken the 23-second barrier this year already. You have Tiara Kelly from Baylor, 22.73. India Mayberry, just spoke about her from TCU with that 22.78. And then also Kelly Ufodiama, apologies for the pronunciation, I'm pretty sure she's Nigerian, 22.99. So pretty, pretty even keel for the most part when talking about the 200. If you look at what we saw last year entering NCAAs, you have someone like Jamesia Ford with that 22.36. But down the line, that's where you saw some other women with those high 22s. So that's definitely what it's going to take to get into the NCAAs this year. I think a lot of women are going to start to heat up as the season progresses. But let's talk about the 400s. Let's talk about that 400, where we know the woman of the hour here, Jamesia Ford from South Carolina. Last year, she was the star find, the star freshman at South Carolina, dominated in so many ways. This year, she's already leading the NCAA, right? 51.20 seconds, really, really hitting things off very strongly. And I think this was 2 weeks ago. So this was not even just this past weekend. This was previously already hitting that 51.2. She has a very strong 36-second performance in the 300 as well. But Aaliyah Butler, shout out to Aaliyah Butler. Check out the story on City Smag where, she signed an NIL deal with Nike, still competes for Georgia, 51.71. She made the Olympic team last year to, for Team USA. She's going to be a problem. And again, when we're talking about the 400 last year, this is where we saw Arkansas's dominance. This is where we saw that dominance between Amber Anning. She's gone pro already. Kaylin Brown, she's still at Arkansas, only sophomore this year. Nikisha Price, she went to another stratosphere. She's already pro. Rosie Effion, she's of course pro as well. So this is going to be a different landscape in the women's 400 right now. Aaliyah Butler, she's going to be in the mix. Of course, you do have Jamesia Ford. She's going to be, I don't know. Is she going to be running the 400 to 200? She did focus on the 200 last year, where she did go on to, really dominate the event. But we'll see how she kind of plays things in 2025. Looking at the hurdles, though, the 60-meter hurdles, pretty even keel. These are going to be some strong performances that I think the top 4 will probably hold up in terms of, all right, I'm going to get myself into NCAA championships this year. You're talking about Jaya Covington from Texas A&M, 801, Marissa Simpson, 802, Michaela DeMello, 802 as well. So you're seeing some really strong performances in the 8 lows. And I think it's going to, of course, take 8 low to be able to get to NCAA championships. Last year, we did see at the high end. Jasmine Jones was like low-key, I want to say like the GOAT of the NCAA last year in terms of the hurdles. Won the indoor title, won the outdoor title, went on to the Olympic Games in the 400 hurdles, got 4th place at the Olympics. She was on a different level. Grace Stark, she was on a different level. Aaliyah Arms, you're talking about women who have gone to either Olympics or World Championships. Don't forget, Aaliyah Armstrong got 4th place at the 2022 World Championships in Eugene. She was no slouch. right? But these 3 women are not going to be here. You do have a couple women, though, who are really getting into the fold. Again, these 801s, 802s, I think that they're going to get down to the 7.9s, probably. 7.8 is going to be a really, really, tough mark to be able to crack. But I don't know. It's going to be exciting to see how some of these women are able to really progress in the hurdles. I like the landscape right now. It's going to be very, very competitive when we get to Virginia Beach at the NCAAs. Now, let's circle back and talk about the men very quickly. I already spoke about the men's 60-meter dash. Check out that full video. But shout out to JC Stevenson, 6.50 seconds, leading the NCAA, leading the world right now. He is, going to be potentially doubling in the long jump and the 60 meters. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But really exciting between, JC Stevenson, Wanya McCoy, Max Thomas. These guys are going to be competing for the 60-meter title. It's going to be competitive. But what's happening in this 200 meters? The men's 200. Charlie Makararu competes for Kentucky, represents Zimbabwe, was at the Olympic Games and made it to the 200-meter final. He has already dropped 20.48 seconds. Now, this isn't a groundbreaking performance, which is kind of crazy because 20.4 indoors is wild. But when you talk about some of the performances that we've seen in previous years, a lot of guys have dropped into the 20 lows over the past couple years. But you also have Max Thomas from USC, 20.53. And then you have Tramba from Auburn. He was also at the Olympic final representing Zimbabwe. He's dropped 20.55 seconds. So a lot of these guys have been in the 20-point lows. Shout out to Ahmad Robinson, 20.57. He's, of course, going to be one of the favorites in the 400. When we look at what happened in the men's 200 last year, like I said, 20.5, that's all right, but you're going to be looking at 20.2, 20.3. Terrence Jones, Robert Gregory, you have Cheick Troy, right? These guys are not going to be in the NCAA anymore this year, so, that at least eases a little bit of pressure. But you're looking at someone like Wanya McCoy. He's going to be a threat. All right, you're looking at someone like Tarsis Orgot. If he's coming back, he's going to be a threat. If he's still, representing Alabama. So all these guys are going to be competitive in the 200. One of my favorite events indoors. Love to see these guys run the 200. We're going to see how that plays out in the men's 200. Let's talk about the 400 though. 400 is one for the taking. This is just heating up, right? Nothing too hot has happened yet. Logan Papelka from Texas. I hope I pronounced that correctly. 45.97. 400 is heating up. This is not like a time that you're going to be like, oh, 45. Nah. We got to talk about them 45 lows. We got to talk about them 44s. Like I said, Ahmad Robinson, he already dropped an amazing 300-meter best earlier in the season. Couple guys have already done so as well. We'll see who actually does translate into the 400 to really make some waves. Last year, Christopher Morales-Williams already went pro, so no one has to worry about him, but he, broke the world record with that 44.49. You also had Ahmad Robinson, who actually, only ran 45.6 entering the NCAA championships last year, but he managed to drop a 44.9 when all was said and done. Got second place indoors. So we'll see how these things kind of play out. You're also going to see someone like Judson Lincoln. He's returning, so it's going to be pretty competitive. I don't think that, these 400-meter times, 45.9, we're going to see that improve drastically. Now, finally, on the track, men's 60-meter hurdles, Johnny Brackens, he is the man of the hour. We're talking about 7:49 in the 60-meter hurdles already this year. 7:49, that is insane. And that is drastically faster than he ran last year, where I think he had dropped a 7.55. He, of course, went on to the NCAA championships. I think he got second place behind Caleb Dean, but Johnny Brackens, he is the man of the hour right now. Double threat when talking about the hurdles and the long jump. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. And 7:49, he led things going into NCAAs with that 7.55. Again, we did see Caleb Dean. He actually got the NCAA title, but it's gonna be a good race. If Johnny Brackens is he's just running for the title. It's gonna be exciting to see what Johnny Brackens is gonna be able to do in 2025. I am all here for it. Now, let's talk about some of the field events. We got the long jump on the women's side. Takoria Humphrey from Illinois, 6.78 meters. Okay. Look at what's going on in the women's long jump right now. We have two women already at 6.7. We have 4 women already at 6.60 meters or higher, or farther, Takoria Humphrey, Sophia Beckman, Alexis Brown, Alicia Jones. This is very, very deep when talking about the long jump right now for the women. And if you take a look at what the women did last year going into the NCAA championships, like I said, you have 4 women who have jumped 6.60 meters or farther this year already. Last year, you only had 2 women who had jumped 6.7 or farther. Behind those top 2, it was 6.5s. So this is a deep competition, and that doesn't even speak to all the others. You have 6.51 from Darja Sapova from Illinois, so 6.50 from Ida Brigan from UTSA. So this is a competitive women's long jump. Again, look at what we saw last year. We already right now in 2025 have 4 women above 6.60 meters or farther. Last year, we only saw 2 of them. This is going to be, I don't know what's going on in the women's long jump. This is competitive. But let's talk about that women's triple jump. My favorite event, triple jump. I love it. I love it. I love it. And this is also pretty good, field right now. Ruta Lasmeni competes for Texas Tech, 14 meters already this year. She actually represents, I think it's Latvia on the global stage. Listen, 14 meters already, very strong performance. And then you have Shante Foreman for Clemson, 13.84 meters. Very, very strong performances at the top end here. Look at what happened last year. One woman, Amelia from San Jose State, 14.09 meters to go to lead the NCAA going into the championships. Ruta, she had jumped 13.97. She's already had a pace there, right? And then you also have another woman this year who's jumped 13.8. I like the landscape of the women's triple jump right now. Yes, behind them, you're talking about 13.4, 13.4. So not nearly as deep at the top end, but I do like the landscape. And if you're talking about 14 meters already, come on. We're only in January. We still have a lot more to go. Very, very exciting. Let's flip over to the men's side and talk about some of those events on the long jump side. Men's long jump. Woo! Joshua Rivers, 8.13 meters. And we have Kelsey Daniel, 8.03 meters. Very strong performances to kind of kick things off. I love to see Joshua with that 8.13 meters. That's a very strong performance for him. That's a very strong performance to lead the NCAA right now. That's a mark that's going to hold up pretty strongly as we kind of continue throughout the season. I don't know if we'll see some of those guys. Of course, JC Stevenson, he was an NCAA champion outdoors last year, but you're not going to see some of the guys that we had last year competing for the men's side, right? We're missing a couple guys. Talking about Wayne Pinnock, he's already gone pro. Johnny Brackens, he'll probably be doubling back, but Jeremiah Davis, he's already gone pro, right? So some of these guys are not going to be here anymore, but I do like the landscape of the men's long jump right now, where you're seeing Joshua Rivers, 8.13. Let's hold that through. We're going to see JC Stevenson. We're probably going to see Johnny Brackens open up soon as well. Long jump is looking very, very nice. Let's end things off. Men's triple jump. I love it. I love it. Nothing too crazy. 16.75. Brandon Green Jr. Pretty strong performance. We'll see how things kind of progress if he's able to get into those 17s over the next month or so as we progress through February. Victor Morzov for Illinois, 16.35, and then of course Alexandria Malanda from Kent State, 16.30. So decent marks in the triple jump. Nothing too crazy, not anything too surprising for the most part. We'll see maybe a couple guys jump 17. Last year we didn't see any of that. Shout out to Salif Main, outdoor NCAA champion in the triple jump, went on to the Olympic Games, actually won the U.S. Olympic trials, finished 5th or 6th place at the Olympic Games. Shout out to Salif Main, Luke Brown as well from Kentucky. But this was just a little bit of an overview of the NCAA landscape right now on both the men's and the women's side when talking about the sprints, as well as the hurdles, and then of course the long jump and the triple jump. Just of course my favorite events. Shout out to all the other events. Don't want to leave anybody out. And of course, shout out to all the athletes who are really throwing things down in January right now. I'm excited to see how February starts to unfold as we get towards conference championships at the end of the month. That's going to be really exciting. And of course, March 13th to 14th, NCAA championships, that's where it's all going down. But let me know what you think about the current state of the NCAAs right now on both the men's and the women's side. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be back again next time. Thanks for watching, y'all.